Next, I'll call on Margie Skier.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and honorable members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today on the Cannabis Act. By way of background, I am a social and behavioral scientist, and I study adolescent substance use initiation. I also design interventions to prevent substance use initiation among adolescents. And I teach courses on substance use and addiction to public health graduate students and medical students at Tufts University School of Medicine in Boston. Given that Massachusetts in 2016 voted to legalize recreational marijuana, I have been thinking a lot about this new policy that's coming down. And I've been spending a fair amount of time trying to understand the public health implications of infused cannabis food products in particular as it relates to youth initiation and continued use. Right now in Massachusetts, it is legal to use marijuana and grow it, but it is not legal to buy it. So we will see an uptick in purchasing starting in July when dispensaries start to proliferate. I realize that there are several issues related to edible marijuana, and having reviewed some of the prior hearings, I want to focus on two key issues that are more specific to my areas of study. The first is accidental ingestion by children, as Dr. Vandry mentioned, and also the second is the intentional consumption by adolescents, and that's even among those who will be of legal age to consume marijuana at 18, if that winds up being the legal age. With respect to accidental ingestion, there's a recent study out of the state of Colorado demonstrating that there was a 5-fold increase in calls to poison control centers and emergency department visits between 2009 and 2015 when recreational marijuana became legal. And this is among children under 10, and this was related to accidental ingestion of marijuana. And edible marijuana was implicated in over half of these calls and visits, the most common sources being baked goods, candy, and popcorn. So even tamper-proof, plain packaging with pronounced symbols displayed on the packaging, children will still find these products and ingest them, particularly because they look like food that they are familiar with and know. Cannabis-infused food products that are indistinguishable from regular food products outside of the packaging create a significant risk for children. So you take them out of the packaging, it looks like popcorn, it looks like a brownie, it looks like a lollipop. Children won't know the difference unless it is regulated. So even requiring that products such as gummy candy not be in a shape that appeal to children, they will still appeal to children because it's candy. And to reduce this risk, the onus is going to be on caregivers to properly secure edible marijuana in their homes. With respect to intentional consumption by youth, I know this has been mentioned before, but I want to reiterate that there is a robust scientific evidence about the relationship between marijuana use and adolescent brain development. And the earlier that teens start using, the greater the impact on their brain and on their risk for developing substance use disorders later in life. We know that 9 out of 10 people with substance-related problems started using before the age of 18. 90%. And each year, research has shown that we can delay initiation of substance use. It has a long-term influence of the risk of developing substance use disorders over time for young people. So this is a critical juncture that we're in with respect to long-term disordered use of substances, including marijuana. So how does this relate to edibles? We know that research has shown that edible use, that risk perception of edible use among teens is lower. So teens, adolescents who use marijuana perceive edible products to be of lower risk. And part of this is because there's a familiarity with these products. Many of them have used and consumed products that look and taste and smell and everything like them since they were toddlers. Brownies, lollipops, cookies. This is something they're familiar with. And that familiarity really increases the risk of them being more or less inclined to think they're problematic. It's a much shorter leap between smoking a joint for the first time and eating a food product to get high. So the perceived threat of products that people are comfortable with will be lower, and that's even among adults as well. And we know from research that edibles are appealing to young people for many reasons. First, they say, well, we don't smell like pot, so we will reduce the risk that we will get caught from using marijuana. They can be used covertly in schools and movie theaters, anywhere that food products are allowed. People can use, even with regulation, people can covertly use edible marijuana products. And in addition, teens have admitted that they like using edibles, and girls in particular, because they feel less like drug users when they're eating a drug with a food product rather than smoking the drug. And my biggest concern about edible marijuana products is that sheer variety that are available even without elaborate packaging. So even if we're taking away any kind of pictures, even if it's just plain packaging, the sheer variety of products that are available on the market, at least in the United States, is staggering. And this reduces risk perception even further. With the more products that are out there, it normalizes the drug even further. And when I was in Denver right before the 2016 election in the United States, I went to a dispensary realizing that this was coming down for Massachusetts, and I went to the dispensary and it looked like a concession stand at a movie theater. And that was just the candy and baked goods. It doesn't even come close to scratching the surface of what is available out there, even if you do a quick internet search of what food products are available on the market. So I absolutely understand the need to offer multiple routes of administration of marijuana, particularly in smokeless forms for people who do not want to smoke the drug. However, I believe that edible marijuana, especially in forms that are appealing to young people, even if they're not specifically designed to be appealing to young people, is extremely problematic. So for recommendations, outside of the regulation, I believe that for public health efforts, prevention campaigns must target parents and other caregivers to properly secure their marijuana, with a special emphasis on edible products with respect to accidental ingestion among young people and children. This is vital because risk perception among adults may also be reduced with marijuana-infused foods, and that they are familiar with and comfortable with. To reduce the risk of youth initiating and using edible marijuana products, I believe that we have to limit the types of products that are available, as Dr. Vandry mentioned. If people wish to obtain oils or butters and make the products themselves, that is a different situation that policymakers have slightly less control over. However, in my professional opinion, there is no reason that a recreational drug should be sold in the countless forms of enticing foods that young people are already familiar and comfortable with. There, as Dr. Vandry said, potato chips, crackers, granola bars, pasta sauce, beef jerky, anything and everything. It is unbelievable the variety of products out there on the market that are available for purchase, and there are contests to make the most delicious tasting coconut cream pies and ice creams and, again, anything and everything. So I believe that in order to control the distribution of this, the more we can do to limit the variety that is available for sale, the more control we will have over this over time. So thank you very much. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much.